It's GG No Re. We're back with another The One Ring game play. We did the starter set last time on our Fellowship of the Wings, and this time we're going to do something a little bit similar. The starter set is all hobbits all the time in the Shire, and the adventures are very, very low-key. And I found not that interesting. So I looked at the full rules this time, not the starter set rules, and there is a sample adventure in those full rules, so I thought we would run it. Spoiler alert, it's really bad. But that doesn't matter because that's not the point. The point is we're going to go through, I've heard so much about the journey rules and so on and so forth for this system. So we're going to go through with, I think we're still using the pre-gens that come with that. And I think I downloaded some supplemental pre-gens from like official sources as well. So we've got, Tim, what's your pre-gen guy?
Paladin took the second.
All right, Paladin took. And then Mason?
Got Artie Wayward.
What is that? What kind of thing is that?
I mean, he looks like... I'm trying to find out.
Are you a human?
He's a hobo.
It looks human.
Okay.
Not a hobbit.
Bree blood.
All right. He's from Bree? Or maybe he's a hobbit. Okay, whatever.
He doesn't.
All right, figure it out.
No, he's not a hobbit.
Stefano, what kind of character you got?
I'm a hobbit by the name of Rory Mac Brandybuck.
Rory Mac Brandybuck. Got it. All right, so we've got all hobbits. All hobbits still. Okay, that's fine. And what we're going to do is take those characters and just assume time has passed since the starter set adventures. They still have whatever loot and stuff they got from before. And we're going to skip ahead in time and do the starter set adventure. And we can talk about what we liked and don't like about the adventure itself. It's very low-key, and I'm sure they didn't mean it to be something super impressive. But if it's going to be like the one example of an adventure and how to write one, I think you need to do a little bit better, and you'll see why. But the point of this is to go through the systems. Now, I've read the book, or most of it. I looked at some really good YouTube tutorials, which I'll try to link in the show notes. Let me make a note. Daniel, link YT playlist in show notes. Because it's a really high-quality production, and I enjoyed it greatly today as I was doing other things.
Was it really? Or are you being sarcastic?
No, it's really good. Really good. And so what we're going to do now is do the first thing. So we already got characters done, because they're pre-gens. Great. We're going to pick a different patron. Last time, our patron, who's the guy who sends you out on quests. That's what this system has.
Bilbo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Bilbo. And your patron...
Bilbo.
Your patron affects multiple things, like what kinds of things they want you to do. That's the main thing. But then they also have various mechanical effects. So I'm going to read off a couple, or actually all of the patrons that come in the book.
Ooh.
And there's only a few. I think it's like 6. Yeah, 6. And y'all just tell me which you care about. And I'll tell you what benefits they give you. I don't really remember what all this means, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. So you got Balin, son of Fundin, excuse me. He gives you +1 fellowship points. I don't remember what that does. I think it's just kind of like a bonus currency. The additional thing is you can spend fellowship to give yourself advantage, basically. And he wants you to reclaim lost strongholds and eliminate enemy lieutenants, etc. Very standard D&D. Okay. Bilbo, we're going to skip him. Curdin the Shipwright. Shipwright.
Oh.
Shipwright. He also gives you +1 fellowship points. Spend fellowship to roll again all dice in a roll. And he also lets you receive a rumor during downtime.
But it's not pick the best, it's just roll everything again.
He wants you to rekindle hope and preserve the lore of the ages. So sort of a wizard patron sort of guy. Speaking of wizards...
Seems like a really generic goal.
Gandalf the Grey. +2 fellowship points. Spend fellowship to make a shadow test favored. That is, if you're going to gain shadow points, like giving into the dark side, you roll to resist that, and he can help you do that. He wants you to warn the free peoples and inspire them to action. It's kind of not that great. Gilrain, daughter of Diriel. She gives you no fellowship points, but she says resolve journey events within the old realm of Arnor as if in a borderland. Oh, okay. I know what that means. It means it makes journeys in this particular area easier. Choose the meet a patron undertaking to receive a rumor. Okay. Fight the enemy, defend the weak. Okay, very D&D. Then Tom Bombadil and Lady Goldberry. +2 fellowship points. Spend all your fellowship to call Tom or Goldberry's intervention anywhere in his country. Protect the land, find and preserve what was buried. Okay, so that's not going to be relevant. We need to go with Gilrain, the daughter of Diriel. I'm glad that I read all those because it's totally obvious because we're going to be in Arnor for this module. So that just makes sense.
Thought you had a choice.
So our obvious natural instinct to go with Gandalf, you say, is negated here?
Yeah, it is negated.
Okay.
That is correct.
I thought the podcast option would be Tom Bombadil, but
Yeah, well, he's not going to be Tom Bombadillo.
We wouldn't be able to use him for anything.
Yeah, not to like complain about the module, which I'm sure is lovely. Can you hear me? Is this good sound?
Yeah,
keep going, just
okay. You know, in the lore, the hobbits spend very little time in Tom Bombadil's country.
Yeah.
So that seems like a weird boon. It's like,
Well, you're not supposed to replicate the Fellowship's path. You're doing your own thing. Yeah.
well, right, but like, how much is there to do in like one place that's sort of protected from all the?
Brother, I don't know, man.
Like,
Well, we can
man,
explore those
surely I'm
limits.
overthinking this,
We
but
can go into the old cairns and the
The Barrow Whites.
Barrow Whites, the Barrow Downs.
oh yeah.
Gotta explore all that.
But was that part of Bombadil's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came and saved them.
Oh, yeah,
He set
yes.
them off, and then they.
Yeah, they spent their 2 fellowship points to invoke his intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the songs are torture.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see how people can enjoy that, to be quite frank.
We're gonna get roasted for that, but
I think the songs are like an icon.
Yeah.
It's not that they themselves are good, because they're not, but they look
Very
to something
specific.
incredibly pure and beyond the
All right.
symbol.
So we've got our patron. That is checked off. Right.
Okay.
Now, and of course, if you're playing this for real, I can imagine your patron could come up sort of informally, and it doesn't have to be from the list. And you would make up benefits mechanically that would make sense based on the fiction that you're dealing with. Okay, so the module we are running is called Star of the Mist. It's very short. I expect we will finish this in just a few hours. Even goofing off. You've got rumor. Here you go. There is an ancient tower in the easternmost foothills of the southern Ered Luin. I don't know how to pronounce that. I hope that's right. And it's on the map somewhere. Where's your map? There you go. So let's find that. Is that the Blue Mountains? Is that what that means?
Is this map applicable? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same map. I just have the hex map version.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there is what remains of a powerful castle from the time of the kings. Wanderers speak of an eerie blue light that sometimes can be seen even from Sarn Ford, like a star shining above the river mists. No one goes there, and recently people have started to disappear in its vicinity. And there is another section that it tells you to create when you make one of these little module locations called Old Lore, which is more detailed backstory, and I'm not going to read that. And I'm not going to read the background. I'm just going to proceed. First, we need to find a reason that we would go there, and the reason is that our patron wants us to check it out. Okay, easy enough.
All right.
So now we get to the second thing that we need to do, which is to invoke the journey rules.
Oh.
So I'm going to take a break while I assemble the materials, and we will figure out how that works. Did you find the location?
Materials assemble.
Find it. You found it?
Aranduin.
Yep. On the far right of the map. Okay. Over in the east. All right. We will be back. Oh, no. It's mountains. We'll be back in a second. Yeah, I was right. The Blue Mountains are Ered Luin. I don't know if you pronounced that correctly, but yeah, just wanted to chip in here and note that I was correct. All right, we figured it out. It's the Blue Mountains, and we're going to get there from Hobbiton, from the Shire. And so the fellas need to plan their route on the actual map. And I will pick up the rules for that. I don't know why I came back from a break to tell you that, because I got to just get the materials right again. So that means we're having another break. Hope you enjoy breaks, because here's another one. All right, I got the rules here. So first,
I think we should take some coracles.
I store my hoop-ack in my coracle, frankly.
I'm going to commit a master.
Did you mute me?
Sorry.
Can I mute you?
I laughed
Did you
away
mute
from the mic,
No.
but I think it was still very loud.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing is everybody has to pick a role. So I'm going to just write this down.
I am the plucky sidekick.
So guide. There's going to be one person who is the guide. You will make all decisions concerning route, rest, and supplies, and you will make the initial test for going.
Well, Tim has a predatory mapping predilection.
I don't know what that means. What are you talking
Sounds
about?
pretty dope.
It's a
I'll go
line.
with it.
It's a line about Tim from my rap that I wrote.
Wow. How about that?
You ready to rap about
When is this
Tim?
going to debut?
It's from when we did the AI music.
Oh.
All right. So I need somebody to
Need to link to that in the
choose
show
to
notes.
be the guide. Somebody who has good stats for that.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask, sir. Is what are good stats for
Probably
being
there's a skill called travel. That's probably
Yeah, man,
one.
I don't know. Look at your character sheet and say what makes sense.
I have hunting. That's probably not as good as travel.
There's really a
Oh wait,
I see.
explore. Maybe explore would work.
I've got travel preferred +2.
I should not be
I think
best.
probably-
That
think-
seems like
I think that
the
works.
one to go with. Yeah, the guide makes a marching test by rolling travel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever
go.
has the best travel. So,
That's you.
and what's your character's name?
Artie Wayward. You can call me Art.
Artie. Okay. The next role is the hunter. Multiple and only
I
one
have that.
only one character can be the guide.
I don't have
Multiple people can fill these next roles, but we only have 3 people, so somebody's going to have to double up on each one of these roles. Well, on at least one of these roles. All right, so hunter is in charge of finding food in the wild, so just at least one person needs to be that.
Do you
I
have
got 2 checks. You
Yeah,
do 2,
yeah,
right?
no, I got one.
Oh,
You
okay.
need-
So I guess I'm the hunter.
And character name?
Rory Mac Brandybucks.
Okay, Rory. Gotcha. And lookout, in charge of keeping watch.
There's a wait. Look
I've
at
got 2 awareness.
Is that awareness?
I believe
What do you got?
it is.
I have 2 awareness and the check,
Oh, you beat
which
the one.
I think that means I get a Gandalf in awareness.
yeah, but you can't. Wait, can he double up on this one?
Oh no, we have less than 3. Well, excuse me, we have less than 4 players, and there's 4 roles, so there can only be 1 per role.
Oh.
Okay, so if you're taking hunting,
Well, you should.
Wait. I have one. I have one hunting and it's preferred. I have 2 awareness, but not preferred.
Mason has 2 hunting and not preferred, but you're already the guide.
He's
right?
already the one with travel.
I've got preferred travel. You've got
yeah.
Now, one person's going to have to do more than one thing, but we can only have 1 person per thing. Does that make sense? We have 4 slots to fill and 3
Oh,
people to fill.
yeah, I see what
I
you're
can
saying.
do 2 things, but someone else couldn't.
I think you should do awareness because you got preferred.
Yeah, I think I should do that, but I could
Yeah.
still do hunting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll do awareness and hunting.
Yeah, but what's the 4th? Because I haven't done anything.
So it's
Yeah.
the
sorry, we
last
should
one
probably
is
find that out. Sorry.
Scout. He's in charge of setting up camp and opening new trails.
So it doesn't say what skill we're going with. Or
Just make it make sense. I can look.
What's your best thing?
stealth.
Yeah, you sneak in there and make a camp before anyone even sees it coming. Perfect.
I mean, stealth is kind of scouty.
Yeah.
All right, let me look at the actual book rules. I've got a cheat sheet printed out, but let me look at the book for these. All right, so we figured it out. It was not laid out the way I expected. We've got our roles assigned. So Artie is the guide. That is Mason's character. Rory is the hunter. And because we don't have enough characters to fill out 4 spaces uniquely, one of them has to pull double duty. And so Rory... Stefano's character is also the lookout, and then Tim's character, Paladin, is the scout. Now, I thought that we all had to make those same checks at the same time, like everybody had to make a check all at once. That is not how it works.
Oh,
So first they have to plant. So I've got that on my little journey sheet. There's a form that you fill out. Do we have any ponies or horses in your inventory?
Not seeing one.
Let me check my bag.
Okay. So what those do is they reduce the fatigue that you take on your journey, which is nice.
I'm genuine question. Is that something that we would have had to previously be like, you know what, I want a pony, or would that be like
You would have had to have bought or found one.
Okay, okay,
Or do it in character creation.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but probably that's not something we would be able to buy with like starting money. Like
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe. Who can say? Doesn't matter because this is pretty close.
It's fine.
All right. So that is the benefit, though, which is kind of nice and easy. Now what you got to do is make your path. So we've got the journey roles assigned, and now we have to set the journey path. So the players using their map shows the lore master, that's me,
Nice.
the route that they intend to follow. The itinerary must connect the location where the company is at the start and the location chosen as the destination, which it says you can see it from the ford. So you would probably need to go to the ford first and then make your way there. And we'll just assume it's actually not listed on the map. Another problem with the module, it doesn't actually tell you where on the map it is. It doesn't show you. So I'm just going to assume that it's at the very easternmost foothill of the projection off of the Blue Mountain spine. Does that make sense? Like the very easternmost hill from the foothills that you see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where the location is?
Yep.
And
You
you
can
can see it from the ford of the river?
Yep. You can see it from there. Because it's a tower. So it's
tower here.
8 stick up high.
This is the ford, right?
Well, yeah.
So you got to go from the Shire,
Yeah.
from like the heart of the Shire to the ford, and then somewhere. Well, actually,
Therein
we
lies my confusion. Like going to the ford is
yeah, I just realized.
way out of our way.
Realized that you don't actually, and you would be able to see it before then, so you don't actually have to go
Oh, okay.
that way.
But
I
it's
wasn't sure if maybe there was a geographical reason why you couldn't go
Nope,
overland.
because you can see the map yourself.
Yeah, I know.
taking the road would probably
Yeah.
be a little faster.
Yeah, the road will fatigue you less, and I think it's safer if you're on the road.
That's what I meant. I didn't really mean geography. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's up to you guys. I don't care. Just figure out a path and then let me know it.
But the thing is, if I am playing a game and I see a road and it's the easy path, I'm thinking, I don't want to take the easy path. If I take the hard path, I don't want to deal with the hardness.
So on my template, I have, it's pretty nice. It's got a place for where you're going, what time it is, the horses, events that happen on the way, and it's got a little mini hex grid that you can replicate from your DM hex map so we can get a zoomed in version of the journey. So once they tell me the path they're going to take, I'm going to draw that out on my little hex map.
We're not being pursued, so it's not like we have to stay off the road. So I'm wondering, like, I think we should, I mean, I am the guide, right? I think we should take the road.
Mhm.
We'll get some fresh water here. It's not like we have to worry about that. And then we'll be able to follow it up to the base of the mountains.
What is the what's the scale here?
I really wish it was listed.
Yeah, I don't see it on the
Yeah.
map.
I think roughly a hex is about half a day to a day,
It's like,
which that would be, I don't know, 12 to 18 miles, maybe.
so it's like 20,000 hobbits lined up in a row.
So how many days to get to the ford?
Well, it
I can't
depends
see
also on travel conditions
I
and
can't really
stuff
see
like that.
like in ideal situations, like
I believe it says, if you want to know how many days have passed once you've done, it says journey length. If at the end of the journey, the lore master and the players wish to know precisely how long the company has been traveling. So this will also alert you to know this is not very simulationisty. You're not going day by day. now you have to set up camp. Now you have to pack up. It's
Yeah.
not like that. You can check the region map and count the number of hexes in the journey, adding 1 day for each hex, suggesting a hard terrain like hills, woods, or marshes. And the resulting total is the length of journey in days. So it's by default 1 for each hex, and then add an additional day for each hex that was hard terrain that you went through.
So how many hexes is that? Because I
Just
can't
count.
I don't see that.
We don't have hexes.
You don't have hexes. Y'all not going to know.
I thought it was my eyesight. I'm glad it's not.
But I mean, as I look like a traveler, right?
Yeah, I can tell you roughly. See, as the crow flies, 1, 2, 3, 4. You think it'll be about a week's journey if everything goes well?
Mm.
That's from going to the Shire to the ford and the ford to the tower?
No, that's going straight there.
Oh, so straight south-ish from the Shire.
So I would assume the distance to the ford is about the same.
Yeah, it is actually, and you would be able to see the mountains
Yeah.
from pretty far away.
And so would we be floating down the river, I'm assuming?
That would be path number 3.
Well, if we went to the ford and then floated down the river, that seems like that'd be fast. Versus,
I mean, if we were gonna do float down the river, we could start floating at the Shire, right?
Yeah, it depends on how where you're going to get
yeah.
Yeah, you could go up to the river and then, yeah.
your whatever, your boats, canoes, whatever.
But you guys don't have a boat in your inventory, do you?
Right. So you'd have to like go over here.
One
and
can
buy one.
manufacture a coracle with basic ingredients.
Yeah, what's the crafting?
Hey, let's just
system?
not make this too complicated for me.
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
feel
go-
like we're over. Sorry, I think we're
So,
overthinking.
I think
I'll
we
do
take-
whatever. I'll do whatever. I don't care.
I would like, I mean, with my experience as a traveler, I think we should take the road to the ford and then overland
Okay.
to the spot. It's the simplest route. I don't think we gain much by going straight across.
Okay. So that's fine. And you'll be able to see. The thing is, you'll be able to see it before you actually reach the ford. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, do you actually just want to go to the ford, even though it's going to take you a couple days more, and then leave, or just go until you see it,
I guess
then head off?
I don't have a problem with going earlier. I guess ford is just my landmark, so we could cut off right about here.
All right. And they, in naturalistic terms, told me their path, and then I looked and replicated that so I know how many hexes it's going to be. They don't have a hex map. They just have a naturalistic map. And I think that part worked okay. It was kind of fun plotting the route on the map.
Yeah.
All right. It says the path drawn on your journey log must not necessarily conform to the path traced by the players, but okay, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay. Now, we go to the next step, which is make your checks. So we're going south from the Shire, southeast from the Shire. And for the first bit of the journey, you're going to be pretty closely following the road, so it's not going to be that big a deal. You're going to be relatively close to the road anyway. We're going to make our marching tests. So the guide... So the way it works is instead of random encounters checked per interval, instead the guide makes a travel check at the start, and that determines how far away in hexes the first event happens. Okay, if you're making a really short journey, it may be beyond where you're going, so you don't get an event. So go ahead and do this. Make a travel roll. So that's, for this game, you roll a d12 all the time. That's called your feat die. And then you roll a number of d6s equal to your skill checky boxies. And then if you have it as a favored skill, which means it has a dot to the left, you'll roll with advantage on the d12.
I think my travel was only 2, so I got 2 d6s.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you have any special stuff like from at the top of your character sheet for being an elf or a dwarf or hobbit guy or something, that may affect things.
So I remember when we played last time, if you roll a Gandalf, it's like a
Auto success.
crit, right?
Yep.
So how does that apply to this? Because you're rolling for distance.
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Good pace.
Sorry. I'm just I'm claiming that you're gonna roll a Gandalf.
You're saying preferred I get to roll the d12 again if I want to.
If you have the little dot to your left,
No,
which I don't think
That's a heck of a boon, by
I
the way.
do. I got one higher. Let's see. 17.
Okay, I got to see what that means. So give me a second. All right, so we rolled that. If the travel was a success, what do you roll it versus? Oh, you roll it versus the target number, the TN of the stat that it falls under. So.
I beat it.
Okay, you beat it. And did you roll a 12 on the
9.
guy? And did you roll any 6s?
Yeah.
How many?
9.
What? 1. Okay. If the travel roll was a success, the event takes place at a distance of 3 hexes plus 1 for each success icon. So that's 4 hexes. All right. So I need to find out where that's going to be. So that's 1, 2. Well, actually, I guess we'll start you in the Shire just so we get more content. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have event 1 right here. And then, okay. So that's where it's going to be. It looks like it's about halfway through, right as you're about to head southwesty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that happened. So now we need to determine the precise nature of an event. The procedure described under event resolution must be applied. All right. Let's do that. Event resolution. So I have to select targets. The Lore Master selects who will face the journey event. So this is where your roles come into play. The Lore Master selects who will face the journey event by rolling a success die, D6. All right. And using the event target table below. Number 1, the scouts. That's you, Tim. You're going to roll an explore check. So identify the targets.
Not a stealth check. An explore check.
Yeah. Show the ability that will be challenged. Yeah, so you have to roll explore.
Your explorer's better than mine and Stefano's.
My explorer's terrible.
11, is that a thing? Which one was the fail, automatic fail?
That's the automatic fail.
Okay.
Actually, it just counts as a 0.
Okay.
So
11
you may
does?
still possibly
No.
succeed. Okay. So you're going to get a
So I have
7.
to roll over my TN.
Yeah, or at or over.
Yeah.
So you're going to be at a 7. That's what you roll. All right, so I have to determine the event that's going to happen.
Tim, don't you have a perk where an 11 counts as a Gandalf?
Yep. Every time.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where terrain, if this is within a borderland, I make a roll with advantage. If it's a wildland, I roll a feat die.
A single job, Tim.
Okay.
You had
And if
one
it's in the
job.
dark land, I roll an ill-favored feat die. Okay. Oh, I see. Borderland, wild, and dark. So wild is neutral, and border is... I think this counts as a
Wild.
borderland.
What? Border to what?
Like, it's almost at civilization.
Mexico.
That's the idea.
Vehicle.
So I'm going to roll with advantage here for you. Okay. I got that. And then we're going to look at the tables.
The tables.
Yeah. So all entries describe a type of occurrence, and then we resolve the event. So let's look at the tables.
Loading.
Where is that?
While you're calculating that, I just want to point out that I like that this
Page
module
112.
is not completely predetermined like the last one was.
We're actually doing
Well,
things.
we cut out, I think the tutorial missions cut out the travel rules.
Yeah.
They did,
Yeah.
but and I think probably in a normal situation I would be annoyed by all the travel rules. But it feels like we actually have agency. I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that was lacking from the last one was
Yeah.
it never really felt like agency. It just felt like you were like, well, now the DM says that this is happening, so this is happening, but it's fine.
But you've DM'd for first timers, right? You've DM'd for first timers.
Yeah. You know, I had that online gamer in for a while, which I finally put to rest.
But it's like, I feel like Lord of the Rings is such an easy entry point for someone who would want to try D&D. They put the tutorial missions in there for people who don't even know how D&D operates.
yeah, so like when I was a kid, my mom got real kind of into like the Satanic Panic stuff. And she was very like skeptical of any fantasy. And I was like, no, Tolkien was a religious dude. And she was like, oh, it's fine then. You can read it. So it's kind of that, right? It's like the entry level safe kind of.
Oh, don't worry. This is Christian D&D.
Yeah.
His religion was Satanism.
Play D&D in your mind.
So I found it. So the events are generic. Now I'm sure that with the supplements they have ones tailored to each area, but so the event that you will be rolling against is a mishap.
Oh.
All right. So you
Adventure.
failed.
I've had a mishap. There's a hole in my rucksack.
Yeah.
Just
So
warm up.
you're supposed to just like imagine what a mishap might be.
Let's
I
do
fall
it.
down.
And then describe it.
Let's do it.
I tumbled down a hill and my rucksack gets a hole in it and I bloody an elbow.
No,
I feel
no,
like
no.
that's maybe even too much, considering these people are hobbits.
No.
I
What if
stub
you-
a toe.
They're like,
You see a squirrel and you draw your bow, and then your bowstring breaks, and then you fall back and you smack your head on the
Well,
ground.
this guy's like, the
problem
butter
is-
I set aside for pastry making, I lost it, so we have to go back.
Lonnie's not here tonight, so there's no
Yeah,
pie.
no pie.
references. All right, so the problem is it actually has mechanical effects already, so it constrains the kind of mishaps
Oh,
fictionally. So
Oh.
the penalty for this is it adds 1 day to the length of the journey. So I'm just gonna say +1.
Yeah, I stubbed my toe and it means I'm complaining.
or we're literally just out of shape.
But gout flare up. Do hobbits have gout? Sorry, was that a little loud?
You could get gout.
Apologies.
All right, so adds 1 day to the length of the journey, and the target gains 1 additional. The target, that is you,
See?
gain
Stubbed my
1
toe.
additional fatigue,
See?
and then everybody else gains 2 fatigue. So you would gain.
what?
Now calm down. You would gain 2, and you would gain 3. But every time you would gain fatigue, you can try to resist gaining fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the way this works is mishap. Some adversity caused the company to slow its pace or stop altogether, to suffer more fatigue. Oh, no rope, Mr. Frodo. Blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada. Okay. So when you have to resist fatigue, here's how you do that. First, you pause the show and then look up how to do that. Okay, I figured it out. I was trying to be too smart. So when you accumulate fatigue from events, that gets tracked on a separate little tracker called travel fatigue. And there's on the form for the journey, there's a space for it. So I'm just tracking that. Y'all don't need to worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end of the journey, that's when you try to resist it.
Oh.
So a little less bookkeeping.
It's like jet lag on vacation.
All right, so
Yeah.
we made our first marching test. We saw how far we got into the journey, and now you have to make it again, I assume. So we resolved the event, and then I think we resolved it, yada, yada, yada. If it takes place in a hex suggesting hard terrain, it is not. You would normally lose stuff from doing that. If it takes place along a road, you get a bonus die to resisting it. Are you going to... Oh, you would have gotten a bonus. So go ahead and roll another d6, Tim. You would have gotten a bonus die because you're on a road when this event was made.
To see if I
Just roll a
meet
d6.
or exceed my
No, just
TN?
roll d6. Yep.
Don't think.
1.
Didn't matter. Okay, great.
So close.
Didn't great. Okay. So we figured that out. No problem. Now, we've got that done. Journey event. Yep. So now we just repeat. So guide, you can reorient if you need, but I think our path is still good. You can actually see the thing now.
Yep.
And you're just going west.
We were just getting in shape.
Yep.
Hurrah! I think that's a win.
Okay, and did you get any bonus, any 6s?
I did.
How many?
1.
Okay, so 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right as you get to the destination, we get event 2. Oh, an event, there's a tracker for events. So the target was Paladin in the first one. The event was mishap. And the result was fail. And the second time, the target will be, and I'm going to roll to see who the target is. The target is going to be one of the hunters, which is Rory. So it's going to be Rory.
Rory, man.
So you're going to need to make a hunting check.
So I have 2 checks. So I roll 2 d6s and the d12 and no advantage, right?
You don't have the.
Because I don't have the little check.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just 1 d12 and as many d6s as you
Yeah.
have skill points.
Yeah, it took a really long way around to say that, but yes. Oh,
Ooh.
wow. Rolled a Gandalf
And a 6.
and a 5.
Wow.
Okay, so you automatically succeed.
Magic.
Yeah, I do.
Great. If the roll fails, the target gains 1. So we have
But
ill.
we don't even need to hear about that.
So the event was ill choices.
It's like I showed up at dawn of the coming of the next day.
Yeah, you're just there.
If the roll fails, the target gains 1 shadow point, which is dread. But it didn't fail.
Yeah.
You wake up with a coney in your hand.
So again, you would have to,
Nay, a brace.
if you were running this,
Basically.
you would have to think, okay, I need to do ill choices, or you would need to prep or find a list of actual good concrete encounters of this category and then present them with that. But kind of regardless, you're going to gain fatigue points. So 2 more for everybody
Why am I tired?
because you're just journeying.
Oh.
And nobody gains dread. So however it happened, you are out hunting and you could have been tempted to the dark side of the force. But now you're not going to. Congratulations. All right. So that is the end of the journey. You're now at the foothills of the Blue Mountains and you're at the base of the tower or something. And it's actually not the base of the tower. I'll
Or just
tell you.
whatever. You're there. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So that's how that works. And now we're going to wrap up the resolution here, which is at the end of the journey. Travel fatigue. At the end of the journey, players with a mount reduce their total fatigue by the mount's rating, which we don't have that. Then all players can further reduce their fatigue with a roll of travel. So everybody makes his own travel roll. Okay?
I got good travel.
I feel like I wasted my Gandalf on the previous roll.
No, that was good. We need to eat.
Okay. If you failed, nothing happens. And you're just going to take the fatigue you got.
Take it.
Taking it.
I'm going to take it.
Anybody succeed?
What did we have to succeed at?
Your travel
I
roll
was-
against
I know,
your
against what, though?
heart. Your heart TM.
Just look up.
T into the top of the column.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I lost that part. Yeah, no.
Okay, so everybody failed. Okay, normally if you succeed, you get to reduce it by 1 + 1 for every 6 you roll. That's the format you will often see with this game.
Yes.
Okay. So because you didn't reduce it at all, this travel fatigue gets put on your character sheet as actual fatigue. So
It's on my permanent record.
it's on your permanent record. So everybody has 4 except for Tim, Paladin. You have 5.
Zwei Schlafe.
And it goes, what, you looking for something? Okay, so you do that. Thank you. And remember, fatigue basically means you can get weary quicker. A little Foley work there.
Whoa.
Sorry.
And it can, based on how much load you're carrying, like your encumbrance, share the load. So based on your encumbrance, this makes it harder to carry stuff until you rest. All right,
Good
so
thing I don't carry anything.
don't need to.
Just walk around naked.
All right, and then you get the fatigue, and how can you get rid of it? Any remaining fatigue is recorded. You'll get rid of it at the rate of 1 point of fatigue for each following prolonged rest, all caps, or initial caps, they take in a sheltered and safe refuge that is not on the road. So you have to go, like, sleep somewhere kind of nice to reduce that fatigue. Okay, and it's at 1 point per day, which I like. It's a longer, more leisurely pace to things, not like D&D. You're just healed up at the end of the day. All right. Journey length. Let's just find out how long that was. So it's 1 hex per day, plus an additional 1 for each hex of difficult terrain, which there was not any. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bam. 8 days of travel, just over a week. Not too bad. Not too shabby. And the only effect so far, because of what we rolled, is just your little tie-tie, little eepy,
Yeah.
but nothing too bad.
But
Can you contextualize fatigue for us? Like, at what
means
point
being
should
tired.
we be worried?
When it
Like
gets
you
close,
said, I have 4 fatigue, but I don't know what that means.
let me look at a character sheet here.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
wait, how do you get 4?
Everybody
we
should
got
have
2
4.
because we had to carry Tim after he ate the magic mushroom or the questionable mushroom
Tim has 5. Y'all have
that
4.
I made up on my own, and then we got 2 at the end because of whatever.
Yeah. So fatigue interacts with load, and let me go back and read actually the description for what that means, real quick. Like,
I know
okay,
there's-
fatigue. Fatigue enters play exclusively in conjunction with the rules for journeys. When gained, fatigue temporarily raises a player hero's total load, effectively making it easier to become weary. Oh, so it's like it adds to your load.
So
So
it's
if your
like-
load is 2, it's like virtual load.
So load is versus endurance if it ever maxes out over endurance.
And it might also interact at half. I'm not sure about that, but that's what it is.
So it's kind of pointless at this point, but like if we played multiple sessions of this
Well-
and we had a bunch of crap we were carrying around.
Let's not look it up just in case it engages something at half.
Shit.
All right, I am gonna look it up actually.
You had to.
Heroes become weary if your endurance becomes equal to or lower than your load. And when that happens, you check the weary box on your character sheet. And you remain weary until your endurance is above your load again.
And you
And-
add fatigue to
and you
load.
add fatigue to load.
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not half. There's no halves, which is
Okay.
nice. I don't like halvesies.
No halvesies.
But to my question, basically, like at this stage, there's no way we would.
No, but if you get in a fight and lose endurance, then it
Right.
could be a problem.
Gotcha.
Because being weary, I think it means when you're rolling dice, if you roll on your d6s a 1, 2, or 3, you count those as 0.
Mhm.
So it makes you a lot worse at doing stuff. That's the idea.
Mhm.
All right, so we've done our journey. We got there. There's the journey rules. That was the killer app of this RPG when it came out. To me, it's very mid, and it's not bad, I don't think, but it's not particularly interesting.
I
to
mean,
me.
I
What is
wasn't
our-
particularly enthralled.
What is our... I feel like our reviews are always a little bit skewed by the fact that it's always our first time. We rarely do like...
But this would just get... I ran it super mechanical because that's the point of what I was doing today. But this would be extremely mechanized as you played it more.
You're right, but us looking at the map and saying we should take this route and maybe we should try this, like even that 30 seconds of just trying to consider it, that was worth it.
Yeah, that is fun. But the thing is, you can do that in any system.
You can. Have we ever done it?
Yeah. Like when we played hex crawls and stuff.
Well, I mean, like Tomb of Annihilation was before my time.
Oh, that's true. But yes, we have. But it's not... Typically, we don't work with like a full map that's already done up. It's more like, well, your next place you need to go to find out where you need to go next is over here. So it's pretty perfunctory, which IRL is kind of how it is. But yeah, I think it's an okay system, but it's zoomed out. It's abstracted a bit more than I care for. But it certainly does work, and it does simplify things while keeping fictional elements important mechanically, like having ponies, having
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
but think about this. Like when you played Elden Ring, you did not take the roads.
no,
you
never.
You went off in the cut, and then after a long time of navigating, you had a map. You would navigate to a place. You realized, like, I benefit from taking the roads occasionally, and I feel like you got some pleasure out of realizing, like, your navigation meant something in the end. That like you could hit landmarks and you could
Obviously,
find things.
Legends went straight to Caelid and got wrecked over,
Yeah.
over and over.
You got teleported. I think
That's what I did too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I think you're right in that it would be mechanical, but our review may be a little bit skewed from not having.
Yeah, I think it is capital B, basically capital F, fine. So that is my summary of it. It's not bad. It's short. It's sweet. It's not as complicated as like, old school stuff. And you do cool, cute little hex mapping, and you have a little sheet afterward where you can see what happened on your journey. But as written, it's pretty bare bones, I think. Not that flavorful, which could be supplemented by just random tables you find somewhere. So.
I think I like the potential of that, like to your point, because I don't know, the whole Tolkien thing has a warm place in my heart, and so I like the potential immersiveness of it. Maybe
I can't stop thinking about the timelines because wasn't the whole trilogy over the course of 6 months or something?
Well, yeah.
I'm
just thinking
there and
like,
back. I think.
There and
but
back
like
again.
they got to the ford of the river and like the first night, or is I guess it's different.
Yeah, that was still in the Shire.
Different, yeah, different river. But
All right, this is the landmark you see. I printed it out. Look at this. Effort posting.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the big tower, the ruined tower.
Very dark, very Mordor.
Yep. And let's see. Do we got flavor text? We'll find. Oh, here we
I
go.
hope so.
Advancing towards the southern Eredluin, the company sees the distant mountains rise steadily like a high wall lining the horizon from north to south. But even closer to them are mountains running away from the main range, forming... That's right. I printed this out in a super goofy way because my printer decided to take a big break and didn't let me know that it wasn't done printing, and so it didn't work out.
Classic.
All right, let me just resume from my electronic copy. Forming a westward arm. When twilight comes, the light that guides them appears at the feet of that arm. It's a land of bleak hills and deep valleys filled with turbulent waters running to join the river to the south. Once they get near, they find the tower they're seeking lies on the other side of a deep ravine. Okay, so that's the big situation.
Mm-hmm.
Deep ravine time. No means to traverse the chasm seem to be available. If the player heroes... I can't say that over and over. Player-heroes.
We don't have the magic rope yet. We can't do the deep ravine, obviously.
Scout the ravine. Well, no, you are supposed to find this. For example, walking along its border, they eventually spot a broken bridge some yards below the edge of the fissure, the two sides joined by a makeshift wooden ramp. So we've got a stone bridge that you can get to by switchbacks going down the side of the ravine. Stone bridge, but it's broken in the middle. But then there's a wooden bit put over the broken part that would let you cross. Okay? That's the situation.
Down then across.
How close to the bottom of the ravine is this bridge?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me, and it doesn't show me anything.
Exactly in the middle.
Let's say, how close to the bottom? How much of a fall is it?
Yeah, if you're going to do switchbacks.
Let's say 20 feet from the river.
20 feet?
Oh, so you fall 20 feet if you fell off of it. I don't know.
Okay. That's fine with me.
I have no idea. I'm just saying what comes to mind.
I mean, I think that's a relevant bit of information.
I was thinking 100, 200 feet.
Yeah, it's not that much.
You could call us play rows, by the way. That would be funny.
And
Not really funny, but funny to me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Player heroes? You just say player rows.
Yeah. Not going to say that.
The players.
I know you won't. That's why I brought
never
it
going to
up.
say that. All right. So here's the situation, fellas. We got this thing. Oh, I do have an image, but I'd have to cover up some of it. So that's what I will do. Ooh. Through the magic of folding paper, I will make only part of the map
You can't have this experience with AI.
visible.
It's for
No.
modesty's sake.
There we go. Boom.
Very risque map.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cover that up.
Look at that. We got a broken bridge thing going on.
Okay. There.
Okay. It doesn't depict the wooden bridge
Clearly.
in the middle of the bridge, but it's there.
I was curious about that because to me that kind of changes the... If it's 20 feet, we might be willing to take more risks than if we were 150 feet up in the
True.
air. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's
I think it also depends on what's the bottom, because you asked for the drop to the bridge, but what's the drop below the bridge?
No, that's what I meant.
There's a
really?
river.
I'm sorry, did I missay that? Yeah.
There's a river.
Yeah. I meant the distance from the bridge to the river.
How far? So Daniel, you were saying from the bridge to the river?
From the bridge, if you fell off the bridge, what would the situation be?
Yeah. That's what I was
So I totally misheard that.
Yeah.
So
it's
as
like
you
a 20-foot drop into the river.
Gotcha.
as you look for a passage across the ravine, you'll find. Okay. Basically, what's going to happen is we're going to check for surprise here. So I need everybody to check awareness. Now, it's kind of goofy the way this is written, so we're just going to do this D&D style.
Like rolling the dice.
Yeah.
And if we have the check mark, we roll with advantage.
Yep.
I got Gandalf and a 6.
Yo, dog. All right, that's fine. You're not getting snuck up on. Let's see what it says. Vary a lot based on what you've done so far. They might have. The scene is going to involve comments. Okay, so you are approaching the lip of the cliff, and you can spot on the far side there is a cave, which I don't know if it's actually depicted on here. It's not really, but. And it's not really, it doesn't look like that. So the far side of the bridge has an archway that goes into the cliff wall, basically. But it's obviously man-made. So it's an ancient structure, right? It goes underground. And you can see that there is a fire burning beyond that. Like there are people around. So what do you want to do?
Investigate. I can maybe...
What does that mean?
I want to try to get up closer and see if I can spot anybody near the fire.
So you're going to go up and do that?
I got stealth, yeah.
All right. Stealth your way up there, buddy. It does not tell me to do any of this stuff. It's just like assuming you're going to fight.
Oh.
And there's going to be a fight.
8 plus 6 is 14. Yeah, got it.
Like we're the
All right,
I
ones
got
who
1
shouldn't
6,
pass.
if that matters.
Yeah, so you're going down the bridge, or you're going down the switchbacks, and you manage to find a boulder to hide and dive behind right as somebody comes out of the cave. And what does it say? What does it say? What does it say? All right. Give me. Oh, yeah. There's a short, wiry fellow who is seen emerging from the cave, and you can tell that she's communicating with people on the inside of the cave and is looking around, like, suspiciously. What do you do?
I want to continue to observe to see if I can figure out how many other people there are.
Okay. Yeah, you can tell there's about 4 people total.
They human, dwarf,
Yeah,
hobbit.
they are, what does it say? They are a mix of southerners and mean-looking men of Eriador. Maybe coming from Tharbad. Does that give you all the info you want to?
Perfect.
They're from the south.
The guy you saw,
Southrons.
the guy you saw is swarthy and dressed in black and is short and wiry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what are we doing?
All right. So
You can talk to people. You can try to escape, back up. You can just wait and see what happens.
I think
Like, how gamey are we getting? Does he have to come back to tell us for us to make a decision? Or is it just him right now?
I mean, he's down there. He's seeing this stuff, and you guys are just chilling out.
Okay, so it's just him.
do they appear to be armed?
Yes.
Okay.
They look unsavory.
Yes.
They look like
Brigands, highwaymen.
Flipping loud, brother.
dynamism.
Dynamic range.
Speak that way. Yell that way.
Yeah, so is there any
Potions or smoke screens or potions?
not like any terrain or like,
Tell me what you want to do.
I want to see if there's any way we can get an advantage if we needed to surprise them.
Okay, roll battle.
There's
a battle skill.
There is?
Yeah.
Rory, I think Took's about to fight. We need to get in there.
Nope. Okay.
So, all right. So
I'm just
Do we
scoping
all
it
need
out.
to roll battle? Or
no,
just,
I would have said everybody roll.
Okay.
That's sort of like a tactics role. It's not
Okay.
like fighting. It's like finding good position, doing exactly what he was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what's going to happen is, while you're looking around for stuff, you get spotted. Basically, that's what's going to, or someone, they peek around and see one of you guys up top, or they start coming out. So it's inevitable that a conflict is going to happen. Let's say they cross. Let's say two of them hang back, and two of them cross the bridge, and they're walking right by you. They're going to see you. Okay.
And naturally, if I see a sword being drawn, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like we're
All right.
watching from up high.
So you guys we're gonna say you have the drop on them. So
Yeah, we do.
we're gonna do the combat rules now.
Nice.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm gonna bust out my cheat sheet. So you're gonna get one volley uncontested for shooting at people before they close, and then Tim, you'll be able to close and make one melee attack before we go. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So if the company ambushes, if all the heroes succeed, all enemies can't make. We already established that, John. Opening volleys. If at the start of the battle the sides are at a distance, you can allow a number of opening volleys resolved as normal ranged attacks. Yada yada yada. If you have a shield, you double your defense if you're aware of the attack, because you can huddle behind your shield. Makes sense. So go ahead, and if you've got a ranged weapon, loose it. The other half of the party isn't out yet. You got two coming up on Tim.
I mean, I
That
know
is
how
Paladin took.
I got a Gandalf on shooting the bow.
That's a Gandalf.
It does injury 14.
Okay, we'll get to that. So is the
I don't have a ranged weapon, but I have a dagger, and I was wondering if I could throw it
not this
at
far
some
away.
kind of disadvantage or something.
No, that's too far.
Okay.
As a man who's thrown a bunch of daggers in my day, that's too far.
What about a rabbit skinning? No.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
another thing.
All right, so you succeeded. So what that means is attacks. You already did that versus his parry rating. Doesn't matter what his parry rating is because you rolled a Gandalf. Success, endurance loss equal to the weapon's damage. Okay, so I got to record my dudes here. So we got my named baddie. Then we got one, two, and did you want to shoot at the scout baddie person, or one of the mooks that came out?
Is Scout closest to Tim?
They're equidistant.
Scout, I guess.
Okay.
First thing that I think.
Okay, so let me see what's the health of these foes. I will pause that and look that up. All right, we figured it out. We got the stats. We got the monster stats. It doesn't actually tell me what kind of monster the main guy is. I'm just going to assume he's the same kind as the others. All right, so
A human?
Yeah, but they have different stat.
Worse,
blocks.
a southerner. Sorry, I tried to laugh my way outside.
Not really good
I
at
was
that.
late on the other thing.
Okay, so you hit him for how? Okay, so he loses endurance, that is HP, equal to the something. It's a stat on your guy's thing, equal to the weapon's damage.
3.
3. Okay. So, but you rolled. That's a Gandalf. You rolled a Gandalf, though. So that means something. And it means something important. And what does it mean? I'll tell you.
It means we all feel encouraged.
Piercing blow. Does it have the pierce stat?
No.
It is an arrow, though.
I mean, I don't see anything on my stat sheet that says piercing. But I don't
And what kind of?
I don't have the
shot
rule
with the
book.
bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check that real quick. All right, we found that all weapons can except for unarmed. So yeah, you do cause piercing blow. That is a success plus 10 on rune or feat die. So your Gandalf counts as that. So if you get a 10 on the die or a Gandalf, that's a crit. That's a piercing blow. So a piercing blow means that I took the damage that I just took, the 3 damage, but then my opponent guy, my bad guy, has to make a protection roll, like an armor save. So he rolls his feat die plus success dice equal to his armor, which they have 1 armor. And he gets a 9. And what I'm trying to beat is the TN is equal to the opponent, to the weapon's injury stat.
14.
So I fail it. So on a fail, the target is wounded, and they have like, this is like how many HD he loses. If you think about it, like he's a level 1, he has 1 HD, 1 hit die.
Mm-hmm.
That's called might. So, boom, he's dead, even though we only did 3 damage.
I'm a killer.
One-shotted.
Yep, 1-shotted. All right, so now we're in standard game mode going on. So you are in melee with the guy that still remains.
Oh.
And then 2 more guys are coming out to ranged range. And you guys up top are still in ranged range. So that's our situation. So what you're going to have to do now, we did the opening volley. So now the company chooses their stances. So in close combat, which is what you are, you have forward, open, and defensive. Basically, you want to be aggressive and get a bonus to attack, but at a penalty to your defense, or the reverse, or neutral. What do you think, Tim?
Be aggressive.
Okay.
Be aggressive.
And then the other option is you're doing range combat. So you're in the back. So that's what everybody else is, for at least for this round. So all combatants in close combat are paired with 1 or more opponents. We've already done that. And all of the actions of all combatants are resolved in stance order from forward to rearward. And you chose forward, so that means you go first, Tim. So you're going to fight this guy. So you roll against your stat, plus his defense is his parry modifier. So he doesn't have one. So you're just rolling against yourself.
My stat, like my weapon?
Just look at your skill that you use.
What? Sword fighting? What?
I don't know what skills are on the character sheet.
Oh, maybe combat proficiency.
I think, yeah, maybe you're talking about combat efficiency with my weapon.
Strength. So your strength is 15, your combat proficiency.
Why would it be strength?
So you have how many die? You have 15 strength, so you roll d12 plus how many die you have for whatever weapon you got.
Oh, and that makes sense.
Yep. And you get a plus 1d6 because of your aggressive
So you're going to use a sword. If you have a sword, 2d6.
Plus, wait, Tim, how many d6s did you roll?
I just ignore that. I don't know what that is.
Swords. I have 2.
So roll 2, then an additional
Rating.
1 because of your stance that I was just talking about. So you
I was about to roll another one.
Okay. You could just roll them all at the same time because they add together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have a third one, so I was going to be...
Okay. So what'd you get?
11.
That's not a bingo.
We know it's against strength.
Yee.
Okay.
I mean, I'll double check. Let me check the chapter and verse on that. Okay, we were correct about that. Use strength, but actually Tim forgot to add his d12, so he succeeded with 1/6, which is like the little special guy kind of currency. So that means you can do a couple things with that. You can inflict a special effect for each success icon on a successful roll. So if you have 2, you can also just double up on the same effect. So heavy blow, additional endurance loss. So do more damage. Your strength +1 for 2-handed weapons. Okay?
Nope.
Fend off. So what do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't have a 2-handed weapon.
I didn't. Well, let me rephrase that. That's the cheat sheet. Spend 1 success icon to inflict to your adversary an additional loss of endurance equal to your strength rating, which is strength score.
Wait.
Yep.
Not my TN.
Nope. That's the bad number.
The
rating is the
one
top right.
Top right. Okay, so I can do an additional 3 damage.
And if it's 2-handed, it would be
A plus
4
1.
damage. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the sword damage? Do we have a thing with weapons?
Yeah, it should be on your character sheet.
It's not.
No, it's
Oh, it's not?
No.
That's kind of silly. I will tell you what your sword
Wait,
damage.
do you have a short sword?
Yes.
It's 3 damage.
Okay, so it'll be 6 total.
Okay.
So other stats for short sword.
All right. The other stats for short sword.
16 injury, 1 load.
Yep. 16 injury, 1 load. Nothing special beyond that.
Unless you're Bilbo.
What about a dirk?
Dirk. A dagger is 2 damage, 14 injury, no load. And you can brawl with it, which I think means you can grapple and fight with it. Okay, great. So here, just keep this handy. This is the weapon stats. Thank you. All right, so that means you're going to hit... Okay, that's just one of the options. The other option, that's called heavy blow. Just do more damage. Fend off means you can spend a success icon to increase your defense for the round. +1 if you're using axes, +2 for swords, and +3 for spears. So using spears is good for a defensive fighting style. That makes sense, I guess. Pierce, bows, spears, and swords. If you hit a less protected part of the body, spend 1 success to modify the feat die numerical result of your attack. So try to expand your crit range. +1 if you're using swords, +2 if bows, +3 if using spears. They really want you to use spears, dude. What the heck?
This is it's an entirely different world from our experience of the One Ring.
Yeah. Thus possibly triggering a piercing blow. Okay, and then if you have a shield, you can do like a shield bash, which is not relevant to this. And piercing blows, yeah, we already saw what that does. Yep. Okay, so do you want to do more damage? Do you want to expand your crit range? Or do you want to beef up your defense? That's your options right now, Tim.
Let's play it easy and get the extra damage.
Oh, so that's 3 extra. So 6 total, right? So, and it's not a piercing blow, so he's not dead. But if he loses all his HP, he's dead. Okay, great. Love it. So now you go in order. The initiative is in order of who's most aggressive. So him first. I'm going to say my neutral guys are going to go now. And then ranged guys go last. So melee guy is going to open up on you. He's got a club.
I'm about to die.
And he's going to roll. Oh, wait. No, you have to roll. Okay.
No, you roll.
Give me a second. I figured it out. So they do have it on their monster stat sheets. They have skill ratings with weapons. So that's what I was looking for. And I don't roll against my own stats. I roll against his parry stat. So I'm going to roll here. And Eye of Sauron is good for me. Gandalf is bad for me. Which makes sense. 11 plus 5 is 16. Does that hit your parry? Do you have a parry stat there, Tim?
I don't see it.
You're not married to your parry?
I wouldn't know where it is.
It's below wits. It's in the corner.
Oh. What did you roll?
16.
No, it's 17.
Oh, I see it. So the bottom right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so he misses. Great. Nothing really happens on that. And so now we get the ranged attackers. So 2 more have popped out of the cave, and then you 2 guys are up with the high ground. And because you have the high ground, why not? I'll give you an advantage. A little extra die.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter what order you go in. We'll say one of them has...
well, I don't have a ranged weapon.
Oh, well, then you got to go close.
Unless I could just retcon and give myself
no,
a
you
ranged
can't.
weapon.
All right, so you can spend the turn getting down into melee. How about
That's what I wanted to do.
Spend the turn crafting a bow.
I don't know if that is how you do it, but I'm just calling that's how we're going to do it right now.
Okay.
And the other guy is in green and then brown. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They're different clothes. So the guy with Tim engaged in combat has brown clothes. You got one guy dead next to Tim. And then we got a gray guy and a green guy shooting at you.
I'm trying to identify if this is a 6 or a 9.
Oh, these dice are hard to read, man.
That was a 6. I did not land my shot.
Okay.
Pro tip: go with the higher number.
I did. The first number was a 1.
The worst ever.
The first was a 1. So.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in myself.
So they're gonna shoot at you now. So I think on their bows they have the same skill. Yes, they do. So the first guy is going to take a shot at There's no like shooting into melee penalties.
Oh, you're saying if I don't know if it's a 6 or a 9, I say 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ray, when someone asks if you're a god, you say
You
yes.
say yes.
All right, shooting at you, Tim. It just makes sense. I rolled a 1 on my feat die, so only a 10. That's not going to work.
For parry?
Yeah.
No.
And the other guy, same thing.
Oh,
Oh, he rolled a Gandalf though.
it's a Gandalf.
So that
Wait,
for him,
Gandalf doesn't help
bad
them?
for them,
no, that's
right?
bad for them.
Oh.
That's a crit fail.
Wow.
For Southern.
So
Okay.
boom, his bowstring breaks. It's over for him, bro. So they look at each other and with a worried expression. Beginning of next round. Now, Tim, you have additional things you can do. All right. I know you don't really care about this, but this is something that can be done. If you are in the forward stance, you can do this thing called Intimidate Foe. And they actually have a special feature that interacts with this.
You just foam at the mouth and snarl.
You can make an awe skill check as your action. On a success, all opponents with Might 1, that is 1 HD creatures, are weary on all combat rolls in the round. That means they ignore 1s, 2s, and 3s. On a great success, adversaries with Might 2 are also affected. On an extraordinary success, all adversaries are affected. So basically, it's a debuff to everybody, potentially, that lasts for the round. That's what you can do instead of attacking. Okay, do you want to do that or just fight?
But I got the one guy who's been injured by me. He's got the club.
Yep.
And you've got the 2 ranged, one whose bowstring just broke.
Yep.
I guess let's try to take advantage of these mechanics since we're trying to experience the game.
Good idea.
So this awe, I'm
Yep. So it's a skill.
Okay. Oh,
So-
it's on my sheet.
Yep.
Oh. Well, no, I don't want to do that.
Okay, well then don't do it if it's not good.
I'm not a very
None of-
awe-inspiring person.
None of us have any awe.
Yeah, no, we are hobbits.
I'd remember to look at your distinctive features in the top of your sheet to see if anything makes sense.
Yes, eager and rustic does not mix with.
And check
On
your virtues and rewards and stuff to see if they make sense.
Folklore.
Valor.
Okay, might not.
No.
Don't worry about it.
I will continue to swing my sharp weapon.
Okay, swing your sword.
Why did I roll an extra last time?
Because of your stance.
Oh yeah, because I'm
It
still in
puts
that
you at a
stance.
disadvantage defensively.
Okay.
And you're still in the stance. So,
So
you roll
do
3
you
dice.
get at some point in combat? Can you decide to change stance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's yes, definitely above that. Okay, so it's 3 damage. Oh, so I need to tell you my total roll.
Yeah.
To create. Okay.
Well, you know, you can just look. You're rolling against yourself.
Yeah, so I got that.
So did you get any 6s?
No.
Okay. Well, then you just do 3 damage.
Okay.
But that kills him.
Yeah, you know.
Excellent.
All right. So now you're done. Let's see,
You're
combat
done now.
actions. To assume a rearward stance and escape. To leave combat, we don't want to do that. I think you can change your stance like once per turn, and that involves like going from range to melee.
I wonder what is the benefit of open neutral?
It's just you don't get a penalty to defense, and you don't get a bonus to attack.
Oh, so you don't know what to expect, so you stay open.
Yeah. All right. So, Stefano, you can now close to melee against these guys.
Even against the bowmen that have kind of given up.
That's the only people left.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, all right, let's do that.
All right. So you get across, which is good because they were about to kick the wooden thing out of the way.
I'm going to...
Plank.
But you're gonna have to. That's gonna be your turn again, though, because you spend 1 turn getting down to the melee where Tim was, and then you got to spend another turn getting to these people who are in the back.
Oh.
But now they're going to be in melee with you, and they can't shoot you, knock down the bridge.
Right.
Right. So that's actually very useful. You're still in ranged mode, so you can plink again if you want.
Plinking.
You want to go gray or green? Okay, gray lost his bowstring. He's got to pull out his melee.
Gray is vulnerable. when he'll have a melee weapon by the time Stefano gets to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take out him.
Not for long, right?
Bruh.
No.
No. All right. So now, beginning of next round, I'm just going to have him fight to the death for funsies. So you go in stance order. So your guy's dead. You can change your stance. Oh, actually, you have to close to melee with those guys if you want to do that.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume that takes your turn. I'm going to assume that. I don't want to look that up. So we'll just say that's what happens. But maybe it shouldn't.
Move minor standard?
Do we want to say that it does? Let me actually look that up. I'm curious. I read the section and I couldn't really get a straight answer. So I'm just going to say, yeah, you can use your move to move back to engage people who are currently ranged. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe it's not. All right. So I believe you have moved to close. Now we'll have fighty fights happen. So I guess you can attack as well. That's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
And then we'll do... The only person that's still enraged is Mason.
Sorry, my name is Artie.
Sorry, Artie. So you missed even with your 3 dice?
Still, I rolled 11.
Oh, that just means it's 0. You could still potentially succeed with your D6s.
Maxing it out.
Okay.
Oh, so it's not like a
Right.
crit fail. And
I cannot.
Like,
No,
absolutely.
if you become like... is it miserable? It's a status you can get. Then the 11 will make you fail. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. You're in melee 2. So go ahead. What are we doing?
14.
Okay. And did you want to take an aggressive or a defensive stance?
Oh yeah, I would like to take an aggressive stance. I figure
So,
because I'm like charging it.
Additional
right?
D6.
All right. What did I say earlier?
You said 14.
14. Yeah. So 19.
Okay. I'm sure that beat your strength.
Yeah, definitely.
And did you roll any 6s?
1-6.
Okay. So how much damage do you do?
So you said it
It
was
just
a knife?
says 3.
That's 3.
Okay.
So what were you attacking the guy whose bowstring just broke, or the other guy who still has his bow?
The one with the bow still.
Bow still. Okay. So 3 damage. Now you get to pick an effect to use your 6 on, and it can be just do 6 damage again.
Or
It's
piercing.
not 2-handed, right?
3 damage.
3 damage again.
Yeah. Or you could improve your defense, or you could improve your crit range if you rolled pretty well on your D12.
Let's just double up the damage.
Okay. That's 6. Thank you.
What does that
Alright.
mean, improve your crit range?
So normally on your D12, you have to roll a 10 or Gandalf to crit.
Yeah.
But you can spend your 6s to not have to get a 10. Maybe you need a 9, an 8, or a 7.
Wow. So like protracted. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What, like
certain
each
weapons are
6
better
is
at
worth
that.
1 point off of that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then some weapon classes are better, give you more than 1 point per 6. So
Oh, cool.
there you go. All right. Now it's the baddie. Or actually, both the baddies. The guy's gonna drop his bow and pull out his club, and the other guy has a club as well. And they have the same stats. So they're gonna attack you, I suppose. And yeah, they're gonna attack both of you. We're gonna split them up. First against Paladin Took here. That's gonna be a 9. It's not gonna work.
Nope.
Then against, what is it, Rory? Yeah. That's going to be a 15. Is that going to work against your parry?
No.
Okay.
My parry is 17.
Well, good for you.
I know.
So now, ranged guy. Ranged dude. Remember, you get a bonus from your height.
Mm-hmm.
Called an audible on that one.
From both.
10 is a crit. But
Yep.
yeah, I'll take the 10. I pass. I get a hit.
Okay. How much? Did you get any 6s?
No.
Okay. So how much damage and who do you hit? The guy with the broken bow or not?
3 and broken bow.
3 on broken bow. And he has to save. So just 1 armor die plus his D12 versus your injury stat. He rolled a 6, so he's dead.
Hooray!
Right in the throat. Boom. All right, so now, beginning of next round, we got melee and the fighty guys. Y'all go ahead. Did you roll 3 dice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you succeed?
No.
Okay, Stefano, you're also aggressive, so go ahead. 3 dice.
9, 15.
Another D6.
Oh, I got to do the other D6, right? Sorry, I forgot.
Just get 3 dice.
18.
All right, did you roll any 6s?
No.
Okay, so just 3 more damage, and he's dead.
Yeah.
Boom. Gone.
Nice.
Now, it says... And I think we would get faster at that.
Yes.
I actually kind of like the fighty fight system. I don't mind it. I like that it's clear about what's happening, and that you can only take 1 wound, like a real wound, and it hurts you. And if you take another one, you're out of there, buddy.
I guess we didn't engage with us getting wounded, so I don't fully understand that, but I do like that our guys can choose to be aggressive and just push.
Mm-hmm. And the enemies don't get to choose that; they're always neutral, open.
Mm.
So you get flexibility, and there's not really initiative. You can control initiative by where you are because it's people who are aggressive first, and then non-aggressive, defensive, and then ranged.
Yeah, initiative has always seemed weird.
Yeah, I agree. And that makes it make sense because aggressive people would hit first. Yeah, just makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it had a silly little thing about what just happened. What just happened. So we fought. The module says, just describe the fighting. Do you get any dark side points? It's not called dark side points. I don't think you necessarily do. It says, and I read the rules earlier, it says human-like opponents that are not monsters, you can possibly get shadow for killing them. But in this case, I think it would be fine. What would Faramir do? He wouldn't have any problem with this. No big deal.
Yeah, they aggressed against us.
Yeah. It was about to go down. It is what it is. All right, so you can cross the bridge, and when we get here, guess what?
Sing.
We don't have to have any kind of skill check. This is a very Mouse Guard inspired structure to say, okay, you have a fictional problem. You have to cross the river. And the way to do it is just make a skill check. And if you succeed, then you get across. And if you fail, then either you have to try something else or you get across, but at the cost of something, like you lose fatigue, you gain fatigue or something like that. So that's kind of, so if what was supposed to have happened is that they see you coming, they try to ambush you, they kick the ramp thing away so that you have to figure out a different way to cross the chasm, like with rope or something like that. And it basically just boils down to making a skill check. So I can't be bothered with that, John. But also, you successfully made them not be able to kick the thing away because of what happened. So that's fine. All right, you can hear that. You can see that the gate into the hillside is of dwarven make, and there's an empty room beyond it, littered with debris and refuse left by the brigands. And you can tell that they use it as a sleeping quarters. What do you want to do? You want to explore or search for stuff or try to find your way deeper in?
We will rest at the bonfire and save.
All right, good deal. That's a perfect idea. Perfect idea. And I've got a little map here, a little isometric map. Ooh. What do you think about that? Boom.
I like it.
Actually, I like these maps.
Yeah, it's a nice map, which was also my way of saying I'll cut it.
Yeah, I agree.
Good safe spot. Ooh, there's lots of little detail in there. I like this.
It's very nice.
But that's all there is. So
this is just right here, across the bridge.
The first little room. I'll get through this little part though.
Yeah.
You can hear the sound of dripping water and the occasional gurgling sound coming from the next chamber. The only door leading somewhere interesting. See, it's not like a dungeon crawl. Like this thing is not going to be a dungeon crawl. It's like you go from thing to thing. It's fairly railroady once you get in here.
It's like you're basically telling us ahead of time what we're going to encounter. Or not,
No, I'm just saying this module is written such that it's not like an exploration.
Yeah, that's what
there's a small but deep niche on the west wall of the chamber used as a pantry by the brigands. If the player heroes inspect the niche, we'll just say you do. You find a small cache of stolen gold is hidden here, behind a supply of dry kindling, stale bread, and dried meat. The gold is worth a total of 15 gold, 30 gold, No. A total of a success die of treasure points.
But we don't take any of it because we can't take stolen gold.
Among the gold are several personal items that certainly belong to the victims of the brigands. And so here he is. If player characters who take a share of the gold gain 1 shadow point for greed.
Oh.
Told you. I called it.
Yeah. So that's not that big a deal. 1 shadow point of greed.
For greed. What's
Yeah.
the gold going to do anybody
Exactly.
good sitting here?
I was like, come on, writers.
It's like,
This is not like
I could literally, this is unused capital, unproductive capital.
So
I
are
could
you
take
saying-
this back to the city and I could do good with it.
You take a point of greed because it belonged to a dead body that's floated down the river.
I can't explain what was going on in their heads. They just wanted to explain this mechanism, to use the mechanism in a sample scenario. It's not a good use of it.
A little shoehorn.
But you can see, like, especially if they were a dwarf character, maybe there would be a disagreement about how it's split up or something. Or they would have to resist acting greedily. I could see that happening.
What about, like, what checks do we have to make after killing people?
Yeah, there's some degree that you could gain. There's like 4 variants of shadow points, and there's something, but I don't think it goes over that in this sample scenario. But there is something like that. Like if you just go like murder hobo, you'll gain a bunch of shadow and then go nuts. So like there's like 4 stages of gaining too much shadow that can go on before you become like an NPC. Yeah, like you either go,
Right.
if you're an elf, like you go sail off to the west, or you become, evil Galadriel. If you're a different kind of character, you just disappear in the woods. There's another one, you become a bad guy. I don't know, there's things like that. That kind of thing. Anyway, so I guess we'll talk about what we thought another time because it's getting late. But maybe we'll pick it up here next time, now knowing what we're doing. And we'll definitely be able to finish this next time, because the thing that takes the most time is the journey and plotting it and also figuring out how these rules even works. But I think we've got a handle on the rules now. That's pretty much all there is to it. Like there's like an initial hump, I think, of learning how it works, but there's not a lot of depth to it.
For people with our time schedule.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll pick this up next time and finish this off and probably have a little mini review at the end of that next episode. As always, ggnorecast.com for the show notes, which we don't really have anything for the show notes, except for we'll link to the playlist of the tutorial videos for this. That's what I will do at least. So check that for that link. And I think we don't have anything big going on. We'll resume probably our 1E game or something like that after this bit is done. Unless everybody's just super into it and wants to play for real LOTR, like with good content rather than the sample content that's not any good. Or we'll just play with 5e, who can say. All right, it's been real. GG No Re.